Hey guys, welcome back to another Dr. Soybean Let's Play here on the Neon Nightcast channel. And today we're going to be playing Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the original Game Boy. And because this game was optimized for the Super Game Boy, where you could play Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo, we've actually got some color here. Even though, of course, if you play it on the original Game Boy, it would be completely in black and white. So growing up in the early 90s, if anyone else is from that era or was a kid in that era, Power Rangers back then was huge. I guess you would call it the Ninja Turtles equivalent of the early to mid 90s. You know, Ninja Turtles was kind of late 80s, early 90s, and then Power Rangers kind of became the next big thing in the early to mid 90s. So I'm going to probably play each level with a different ranger just for variety. Actually, not doing that well right now. I'm taking quite a bit of damage. One interesting mechanic about this game, or interesting is one word for it, is that after each stage there's a bonus stage, and if you do good in the bonus stage, you get more health for every subsequent level. So, in a sense, the first stage is actually the hardest, because you have the least health. And as you can see, I just took a death. So let's give this another shot. And we'll still be Trini, why not? Okay. So basically you're just going through this city fighting putty patrollers. The foot soldiers of Rita and later Lord Zed. Okay, there's an invincibility actually, so for a brief while I can't take any damage. Interestingly, this was actually the first Power Rangers game released in North America, so I don't know how long the show had been out prior to this game being released, but I believe this game came out in '93, which is the same year the show came out, so they must have gotten this out pretty quickly. The ones that jump at you are the worst. You notice when you get hit, you kind of do that weird little backwards slide. I don't know if any of you have ever seen Michael Jackson's Beat It video, but it always reminded me of a dance move that they do in that. So now we're becoming the Megazord to fight the boss. Full color, nice. And this boss is pretty easy. This is actually Squat, one of Rita's henchmen, who never actually really does any combat in the show itself, but again, because I'm assuming this game came out so quickly after the show came out, that they had a limited number of monsters they could choose from to be enemies, and let's finish them off with the laser. And there we go, that's stage 1 clear. Now this is the bonus stage I was talking about. Basically, I just want to try and destroy as many of these things as I can, because the more of them that I get, the more power I'll have in the next level. Doing pretty well. Might get almost all of them except for that one that hit me. Nice. So you'll see right away in the next level I'm going to have a shit ton more health. Alright, let's do Billy this time. No Green Ranger. This game is, again, too early on in the release of, in the lifespan of Power Rangers. Green Ranger wasn't even a thing yet. He came out relatively early. I believe it was even in Season 1. So from this point on, the game actually becomes extremely easy because of how much power I have. All you gotta do is do good in those bonus stages and you'll pretty much be okay. And Power Rangers for me was one of those things where I was really into it when I was a kid, and then you kind of wake up one day and you're like, you know what, this is actually really stupid, and you become totally out of it. And then later in life, you get nostalgic for it. You realize, Power Rangers, for what it was pretty cool. Alright. And already time for the second boss. Okay, this is one of Rita's, or one of Finster's creations, I believe. Don't remember his name, but I believe he was relatively early on in the series. Now, before you saw me finish out the last boss with the Megazord's laser, if you're wondering why I'm not doing it now, this is one of those games where using your weapon like that drains your power, your health, so I don't want to get frivolous with that. I want to take him down a little bit more before I use that. Alright, but we're probably close enough now that we can finish him with that. Okay, and again, another bonus stage, and they kind of mix these up a little bit too. See, the rocks have a different pattern than the lasers or whatever they were in the first stage, but in this one, if you pretty much just crouch down like I'm doing right now, you'll pretty much be able to get every single one. And should we call it a... No, you know what? There's only 5 stages in this game, and the last one is definitely the longest, so we'll do the 3rd stage now, and then the second part of this video will be the final 2. We'll save Jason for the last stage. Let's go Zach. Okay. Now the game's mixing it up a little bit, adding in some platforming elements, whereas the first 2 stages were pretty much just move to the right. Whoops. And again, with the level of power that I have right now, I'm not really... I shouldn't be talking while I'm trying to make those tricky jumps. With the level of energy I have right now, I'm not really too concerned with taking damage. Alright. And now, of course, we get some putties. The Rangers actually have the same thing that the Megazord has. If I want to, I can hit select and start using his weapon. But again, like with the Megazord, it will drain your life. I'll just show you what it looks like, see? In Zach's case, an axe. So like most Game Boy games, especially early Game Boy games like this one, not very long at all. The entire game can easily be beaten from start to finish in about 20 minutes. So here we are at the third boss, another character which I don't recognize. Been a long time since I watched any Power Rangers. Although I gotta say my favorite characters are probably actually not any of the Rangers, it's Bulk and Skull, the bullies. Those guys are hilarious, and you can watch on YouTube some footage of them at conventions, and they're really genuinely funny guys, and they really seem to appreciate their fans, which is always good to see from any entertainer. Alright, there's level 3 clear. So let's do the bonus stage. And this time it's bats, which is a little bit more difficult than the previous ones to get every one. Jump kicks I find work a bit better than the sword in this case. For most of them anyways. Definitely not going to get every single one this time, but enough to get a nice health bonus anyways. Alright, I think we'll call that a part 1, and I will see you guys in part 2 for the final 2 levels.